Is that Sports Illustrated?
Oh, yeah.
You got ESPN shoot. Time for us lowly locals.
Oh,
Remember
no,
us?
it's all good.
How do you've done this a few days now, how do you handle this kind of stuff now that the attention's ratcheting up? How do you personally handle that?
I've dealt with it before. I think going into the last season, I kind of had to deal with it, and the team had to deal with it. I think this is where we should be, getting a lot of attention. But we understand that that's not what's going to make us win games. We understand the preparation that it took to get to this point, and we're not going to forget what happened last season. I think this team still has a chip on its shoulder. I know I still do personally. So it'll be fun this weekend.
Right. Do you think, though, that this is a situation where you guys understand that this is the reason why people are hyping up this game is because you put in the work to get to this point?
Yeah, I think so. I know we still have a long way to go. We understand that Stanford is a very good football team, a very disciplined football team. And defensively, they're very physical. We know that it's going to take our A game. We can't go out there and just turn the ball over, ridiculous amounts of times and think that we're going to have a chance to win the game. We have to be sound fundamentally. But it's going to be a fun game to play in.
Any flashbacks when you're watching the Washington State film and you see Murphy with the and just go, wow, okay, I know what that feels like.
Well, I'm still reminded of it today, man. I think that's kind of what's driven me this last season. I'm not going to forget it. I think this is when I perform better, when I feel like I have something to prove. I think this is when the team plays better, when we feel like we have something to prove. And we know that this is just a next step in our journey to becoming the team that we know we could be.
It's kind of an interesting dynamic, though, because you got to think that Stanford probably feels like they've got a point to prove after what you guys did to them last year.
Definitely. But it's a whole new season. It's a whole new team. Their quarterback is a pretty good player, man. And I think quarterbacks could determine the outcome of a game. So we understand the challenge. We've been in this situation before. We had stretches like this before. I think we had Stanford and Oregon last year in back-to-back weeks. So it's a big test for us. So I think we're ready for it, though.
What makes this defense so effective?
I think their front seven, they get a lot of pressure up front. They're very physical. I think Reynolds in the secondary is one of the best safeties I'll probably see this season. So you have to be disciplined with your reads. I think their secondary is very physical. They have some big corners. So we have to be disciplined on offense. And I have to be disciplined in my progressions and my reads.
Sark said that you guys relied, maybe in the offseason more so than now, but looking at the film of what they did to Oregon last year, does that give you a gauge of what they're capable of, obviously, against this kind of style of offense?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. We know that they're going to be ready for everything that we do. We know they have great coaches, and I know they're preparing just like we are. It's just a matter of, eliminating mental mistakes and making plays when we get our playmakers in one-on-one situations.
Is there one or two things specifically they did that other teams haven't been able to do against that kind of offense?
I think they all just rally the ball and they play hard, man, and they don't get beat often. They're very disciplined. They're well coached. They understand their strengths, and they play to their strengths.
Do you think the pace of your guys' offense this year compared to last year helps against a defense like that?
Yeah, I think so, but it's all about execution. We can go as fast as we want, but if we're not executing, it doesn't really work in our favor. So it's all about execution this game. We understand that they're probably going to win plays. That's what good teams do. They're going to win their fair share of battles, just like we are. It's just a matter of who can, have more explosive plays and eliminate the turnovers.
So Keith, when you came to Washington, when you were thinking about coming to Washington, make that commitment, is it games like this that were in the back of your mind and the reason why you came?
Oh yeah, definitely. Coach Sark said that it wasn't going to take long, and pretty soon we'll be playing in games that have significance to our season, and this is right where we want to be, contending for a Pac-12 championship, and this is the first obstacle. One of the best teams in the country.
Keith, last year when you played them, you had a lot of injuries up front, obviously, and you were being pressured a lot in that game. How different is it this year with the offensive line that's been so consistent throughout training camp and in the fall?
It's been consistent, man. Coach Cazzetto's been doing an awesome job in the offseason, getting their minds right and getting their bodies physically ready for the up-tempo offense. but they understand that they have a huge challenge, and these guys are not anything to be reckoned with, you know. So they understand that they have to perform at an all-time high in order for us to be successful.
As we've seen with the past few games, you guys come out in the second half. It seems like light kind of comes on with your offense against Stanford's defense. Do you think that there's some sort of maybe an advantage to you guys coming out second half, being able to wear these guys down on the road?
Yeah, I think so. They do a pretty good job in the second half too. Our second half numbers are pretty identical. So they understand that in order to be a good team, you have to learn how to finish games. It doesn't really matter how you start the game. The game is won in the second half and ultimately in the fourth quarter. So I'm sure that they'll be prepared just as we are.
Sark said that you and Will Chamberger talked to the team earlier this week, as the experienced guys. What did you guys say to them?
Just the programming, the big change, and how we went from, probably having 2 ESPN games or 2. I think we were on Root Sports for most of the season, and to now we're having Fox games and ESPN games, and now, we're ranked in the top, 15. So now we have actual implications, and now these wins really mean a lot to kind of determine our season. So that was the main thing. It's just talking about, 5 years ago where the program was to now.
Do you remember, Sark talks a lot about hoodies and the guys wouldn't wear any UW clothes and had kind of cowered under their hoodies when you first got here. Do you remember that? Was it like that?
Probably right when I got here,
Right.
I think guys were wearing UW clothes, maybe because Sark kind of told them, hey, you want to get UW clothes. But I remember I was trying to get as much UW clothes as I can.
When did that mentality change where they weren't so ashamed of UW?
I think
Was there a point?
I think after we beat SC my freshman year, guys were a little bit more proud to put on their stuff, to put on their UW issue gear and kind of walk around the campus. I remember that game vividly, and it was an awesome game. It was awesome to be a part of, and it was a great learning experience for me.
Did that game then say, okay, we can buy into this? This
Yeah,
works?
definitely, because we didn't have half the talent that we had this year, and we were able to, I think they were ranked in the top 10 that year, maybe 3, right?
Yeah.
And, I was kind of shocked, like, man, the way that we won, the fashion that we won the game in, but it was an amazing experience.
All right, thanks, guys.